We had strong momentum today and plenty of opportunities to capitalize on the clean trend, but I took quite a bit of time to find that first trade. But it's not about when you take that first trade, it's about which one is the most probable. And I want to go over this first trade I took, but let's look at the open first of all in NQ and ES. Looking super sideways here on NQ. Definitely the tougher asset to trade today, picking a direction. And this is honestly where I see most accounts get blown. So if you had a tough day today and you need a new account, Top One Futures is still running their best deal with my code Evan. You can always find the link down below. Right now, you can copy trade up to 3 accounts, and depending on when you're watching this, it may be back up to 5. So check that out down below. But it's just tough because you're trying to time the shorts on that break below New York, and then you see it rise. Okay, now it's going to move higher. Now it's going to move lower, but it doesn't really extend outside of that opening range. And realistically, I had a few people on stream sending me markups of losing trades within this range, which is maybe the most aggravating part of it. Well, let's say I'm long there on the bounce off New York. The only way you would lose that so quickly is if you have a tight stop loss at that current structure. You'll get stopped out, maybe want to get back in, or whatever. Because honestly, if you're long there with the stop loss at the range, you should survive all this. Yes, eventually lose, but it shouldn't happen too quickly. Same thing if you're somewhere short, I don't know, if you're short anywhere. Stop loss at the top of the range would keep you in until you're finally stopped out or it breaks outside of the range. But NQ, not able to move higher. Let's take a look at ES. Kind of painting the way for us. Well, it makes it a little bit easier not to long NQ when you see how much ES is just falling with continuous lower highs. Now, of course, we're looking for longs on the higher time frame heading into the session just because we've been overall bullish. We've made all-time highs recently, but we have to read and react to what the market's currently giving us. Since the open, not only is it moving lower continuously with lower highs on top here, that's a great sign, but it's matching it with lower lows. So you cannot try to time the bottom and want buyers to step back in when it's not giving you any signal that wants to happen. So maybe hold off on the longs at NQ until ES could look a little bit more ready. You can see this VWAP below us is previous days New York. I think once it slices below that, see you later. But the reason I didn't short it around here, because I think this is a great example. I also teach it in my course, Futures 2.0. You can go over to AceFX TV and actually get your first month for free if you just use code FIRST. The link's down below for that. You can watch the full strategy and then tune into the streams where we trade these concepts every single day. I'll always preach not to chase the first break of open range low. It's just a lot of the time inducement and maybe sometimes even fully reverse, worst case scenario, or you just get stopped out on a short and it still falls lower, right? So you have the first break there saying, okay, maybe sellers are in, but that's not the time to be selling it. You see sellers defend it saying, no, we're going to stick in. We're going to keep on making these lower highs. Then the next sign to shorter would be the next time to go get the second break of open range low, right? And that one would feed you a nice win there. So don't be chasing the first break of opening range. Follow the structure, but something in me. Just want to keep on finding those longs. I can pull up the 15-minute here and you'll see the meltdown that we had. But up until this point, you can see we're maybe still trying to hold that overnight view up here where I just circled, right? To potentially bounce. But I can't fight those lower highs. I need to see some sort of turning of maybe higher lows starting to set back in before I could just fall in love with saying we're going to bounce off overnight. I want us to, but I can't predict that we're going to when there's that many sellers so far today. So I was flat during the stream, during the open, just watching this thing fall. And then still, once you get to this previous day's New York VWAP, you could want to say, oh, now's the time we bounce. Because, I mean, it's just got to move back higher. It slices right through it and continues lower. So I'm still flat. And then it melts off. Well, geez, what moved this on ES here for 22 points in about 9 minutes? Can't be chasing that. Of course, hindsight, if it is through on a blind short, it would run for me nicely. But how consistent and repeatable is that? So what do? Let's take it over to NQ where my trades actually are. So I had a nice pullback after the flush saying, okay, I'm not going to chase that lower. That can't sustain forever. That's not going to. So let's just wait for the pullback to happen. It comes in. Sellers take it back with a lower debut up, exactly like I teach in Futures 2.0. Stop loss that structure, and this is a momentum trade. So if this turns right back around, momentum is clearly drying up. This lower day break isn't running like I thought. Get me out, because normally I would say don't put a stop loss right at current structure. But with this type of strong flush, this should not want to pull back more and still want to fall from here. This is a momentum play. So keep up this momentum just like you did back here. And thankfully it did, and we get a nice win. I think I got out somewhere along this push for a new low a day. Trailing stops before we gave a nice little pullback, but a nice short, just continuing the trend. Now, another thing I want to bring up is putting on a yesterday's low level. Let's clear some of this off and just put a line on the previous day's low. So that will go to the 15-minute, and you can see the changeover of day here. There's yesterday's low. Zach on a stream this morning had that as a clear target for shorts. It's exactly where it went to here. So let's just clean up this short so you don't see that. Make it less confusing. Now, once sellers fail to make another new low on this failed break of lower day VWAP and not carry that momentum like we just went over back here, and we're off this yesterday's low level after a very, very exhausted move, as you can see. I don't want to be chasing shorts more and hope they just keep on falling forever. Now, of course, they could have, but I'm playing with some profits, less size than what I've won, so I'm still going to end the day green if this were to lose. But seeing this as maybe a double bottom off this previous day's low, we're not carrying that lower day VWAP break here with strong momentum like we did back here and even back there. So trying to long it, fade it back up, trade the reversion. Right? And again, I didn't get this full move. I just always like to mark up, well, how far did it go? Because if I want to look on managing my trades a little bit better and looking for longer runs, I want to mark up, well, on average, how far are they going, right? If I only have like 2 markups of it going 70 points, why would I come in tomorrow saying I'm going to start looking for 100? I have no stats to back that, right? So I'll always mark it up to where the biggest move went to before it came back to entry. In this case, it went 71 points. I get out really quickly there. Trailing stops aggressively, saying I'm already up on the day. Let's just bag a little bit more green as long as this wants to carry some sort of speed. So not the best management, as I could have made more in this little push, but green is green, and we'll take that any day of the week. So like I said, here's the 2 trades again. And you can see I think I had a markup on the 15-minute, but I've tried this before. I'll probably try it again. Timing that pullback, it's very tough because I'm saying the long back here was, I think, somewhere in here, right? Yeah, somewhere in there. I'm just seeing, 11 15-minute closures bearish, throwing a pin to the downside. It's yesterday's low. There's been no pullback bars. Let me try to time it. And I did with that double bottom off of yesterday's low and able to squeak out a little bit of money. But you can see it didn't really pull back forever. It just sat sideways and didn't make any more lower lows because it's exhausted. I mean, it moved, I don't even know how many points, but hundreds of points on NQ on a strong bearish move. So hopefully you guys made money today. Hopefully you guys take the trending trades, right? I think it's a lot easier to just say, take the lower day VWAP breaks here, right? Selling it on the break of a lower day VWAP. Break of lower day VWAP like I did back here. Maybe even in there, then trying to call these bottoms. But just like to show you all my trades, what I was doing. I wouldn't take that trade if I was flat. That wouldn't be my first trade of the day to try to make some money. I'll only take those trades if I'm already up on the day looking to maybe bag a little bit more. But worst case scenario, risk management. If I make 500 on the first one, I'll risk 200 on the next one. So maybe I'll make 700. But if I lose, I'm still up 300. I think that honestly might have been what happened. Yeah, I made 770 on the day. Probably made 500 on that first one. And I made an extra 200 to add on top of that. So not a bad day. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Feel free to reach out with any questions you have on the strategy. Like I said, you guys can all join in for your first month free. It's no longer just a week or 3 days free. Full month. You can look over the strategies over the weekend, over the afternoons, whenever. It's not that long. An update is coming to that, as well as Zach is putting out his own strategy. So if you're trading a little bit more ICT, I don't know why you'd be here, so I doubt it. But if you want to check out his is also on the way. But tune into the streams, ask questions, see the trades we're taking, what we're not taking. Here's Zach's trades this morning. But see you guys on stream tomorrow morning.